Hi, I'm Joel Hodroff. I'm an inventor, I'm a social entrepreneur, and I'm an economic futurist. And I'm here to talk about a breakthrough solution that I think the world's ready to try so that we can have rapid economic recovery through supplemental purchasing power. The economy today is like 2008 with a twist. So in 2008, and I'd like to reference the movie The Big Short, because that movie ended with a set of statistics. So the premise that $5 trillion in wealth disappeared only makes sense when you confuse money and wealth. Money, the tool, the digital numbers and computers, and wealth, the things that didn't disappear at all. We didn't lose any technology, we didn't lose any infrastructure, we didn't lose any human skill, knowledge, or creativity. No products and services disappeared, no raw materials and energy disappeared. So when we say $5 trillion in wealth disappeared, what we're actually saying is valuations fell, and that's just numbers and computers. Scarcity is history. Food's an abundant renewable resource. There should be no more hungry people. We have the productive capacity to educate everybody because college desks are even empty more than they're full. We have this whole problem. Grocery aisles are empty more than they're full. Movie theaters, restaurants. We're so overbuilt to meet all need on the planet, and I'm hoping that people will see that all that excess wealth can be accessed through community service dollars in ways that it wasn't being distributed before by cash alone. The good news is that many big solutions are right under our noses. They're called paradigm shifts, and they're really just a fresh way of looking at things. When we went from the earth is flat to the earth is round, the earth didn't change by one molecule. Perception changed. Money innovation is part and parcel of all economic history, all economic paradigm shifts, and it's always technology driven. So what does that mean? We went from barter to gold coins based on smelting and metal casting. And barter and gold coins drove the whole agricultural era for 3,000 to 5,000 years. But then along came printing, which created paper currency, which drove the whole industrial era for about 300 to 500 years. And then along came computers and the internet. That's been mature in about 30 to 50 years. So you can tell money innovation is part of all economic history, and it's also on an accelerating pace. The name we've given to this new form of supplemental purchasing power is community service dollars. And I want to explain how close we are to having this model born into the world. If you think about loyalty rewards capture the excess capacity of businesses, monetize it, and distribute it. Frequent flyer miles are backed by empty airline seats. Starbucks points are backed by cups of coffee. So this idea of backing money with excess capacity is a good one. It works. But what's the matter with just using loyalty rewards to distribute it? One, if all the rewards are for consumer spending, whoever has the most money now gets the most rewards. Not a very level playing field, not much of a solution to global poverty. Two, we've got 9,000 competing monies. Why? Because everybody's fighting for market share with their own loyalty reward. So what we're solving for is the idea of we pool the excess capacity into what we call a virtual business community warehouse of goods and services. Virtual because everything stays where it is. The college desks stay at the colleges, the empty airline seats stay at the airlines, the motel rooms, the off hours at the restaurants and the movie theaters. Everything stays where it is, but we have a virtual accounting. And accounting is an important word because we're introducing a ledger economics instead of a token economics. This new money that we call community service dollars stretches cash, doesn't compete with the dollar. It's not an end run on the dollar, it's an enhancement. So what does that look like? So Sally, let's say, volunteered to support the frontline healthcare workers with extra meals, or maybe she worked helping to sew masks. There's so many things that could be done right now. Sally earns 20 community service dollars an hour for her volunteer work. She looks online on her mobile app where she signed up for the community service dollar program, and she sees that a restaurant and a fitness club are each in the program. So she goes to the restaurant, and a $20 meal now costs 12 cash and 8 community service dollars. Now, why is that a win-win transaction? Because as everybody knows, $12 on a $20 meal is like 2-for-1 dining, senior discounts, happy hour, student discounts. Now, there might be restrictions just like there are with those programs. 2-for-1 dining, no Friday or Saturday night. Senior discounts before 5 and after 7. We're just playing with a whole series of normal business practices here. Now, when she goes to the YWCA with a $20 weekend pass, that might only cost 6 cash and 14 community service dollars. Why the difference? Because in economics, it's called the marginal cost of production. So what we're creating here is an industry standard, which is how free enterprise actually balances competition and cooperation. The dollar can be supplemented by community service dollars, and pretty soon businesses can have more customers, people can have more of what they want and need. We don't need the growth paradigm. Efficiency can replace growth. We have plenty of renewable resources, plenty of renewable energy, and plenty of renewable building materials, and our most renewable resource, human creativity. Why do I call this a model of sustainability and not just a model of more and more consumerism? First of all, we're not talking about traditional economic growth. We're not talking about more colleges and more banks and more phone companies and more this and that. If we already have tons of excess capacity, the smart thing to do would be stop traditional economic growth, competitive, repetitive, duplicative economic growth, as we call it. We're talking about a people and planet-centered economics and social entrepreneurship. And that's just the kind of pilot that we're working on these days to bring this to the world rapidly overnight at the pace of mobile apps. So this model can scale very quickly. I want to give an example from history. The sharing economy came along and said, wow, let's capture the excess capacity of some solopreneurs, some small-time players. So it turned out to be an empty room in someone's home or an idle car and driver. Now, that tiny bit of excess capacity, a tiny fraction of the excess capacity in the global economy, scaled with old technology, mobile apps, social media, a fraction of today's penetration, in a matter of 3 years to millions of new jobs and billions of dollars of new wealth. But you know what happened? It got filtered through win-lose competition over money, and somebody had to take the hit. So who took the hit from the success of Airbnb, hotels, motels, and their employees? Who took the hit from the success of Uber and Lyft, cab drivers, limo drivers, and their companies? That's why no matter how much we grow the economic pie, we have this experience of a zero-sum game, because when someone's succeeding, someone else is failing. So rapid, sustainable global economic development could be a reality next week. This isn't 2008. We're not blaming, we're not polarizing. We are actually cooperating. We are honoring that people all over the world are struggling, and companies are stepping up, politicians are stepping up, community organizations are stepping up. There's an unprecedented level of cooperation. What if that's a big part of the new normal? We can go from win-lose competition over money and a grow-or-die business imperative to win-win cooperation and global sustainable prosperity.
The economics of the future is somewhat different. You see, money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
No money? You mean you don't get paid?
The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.